nostrils, Messiah Yahweh was taken in their pits. Now, of course, in your translation, in most translations, it said anointed of Yahweh. That's like what we sing here. Mashiach Yahweh, Mashiach Yahweh, Mashiach Yahweh. Now, what this verse does, even though in these three verses the term et was attached to it, but in this verse you still have Mashiach Yahweh. Now, along with these three and this one, that gives us 4 verses that utilizes the term Mashiach Yahweh. Now, let me finish the verse off, then I'm going to ask the question. Again, Lamentations chapter 4, verse 20. The breath of our nostrils, Messiah Yahweh, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen. Now this is the question. Why is the term Mashiach used in conjunction with Yahweh? Why? Not just in Lamentations 4:20. Remember, it was used in conjunction with Yahweh here as well. Okay? But of course we knew in these two scriptures the reference was King Saul. But in this one, it's not talking about King Saul. Okay? Now before you answer that, let's go back to a passage we already looked at. In Psalm chapter 45 and verse 7. It says, Thou lovest righteousness and hatest wickedness. Therefore, Elohim, which we know now means mighty ones, plural, gods. Elohicha, which means your mighty one. And remember that question. Who is mighty one to mighty ones? This is what that verse teaches us. That you had Elohim. So let me finish this. Then you had mighty one to Elohim. Let me finish it up. It said, Therefore Elohim, Elohicha, hath anointed thee. Now what is a Mashiach? A Mashiach is a man who has been anointed, consecrated, right? That's how we understand it. It can be a king, it can be a priest, it can be a saint. And we normally apply that to people. But right here in Psalm chapter 45 and verse 7, it says, Therefore Elohim, Elohicha, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. That is substantiating now that Yahweh is also Mashiach. But we're not finished, we just started. Okay, let's move on. Now let me erase this off again. Now we're left with our term Mashiach. Okay, now next passage is going to be Daniel. Uh-oh. Here we go. Yeah, you know, it had to be mentioned. It had to be inserted in this particular study of Mashiach. Now, these are going to be the final 2 passages dealing with this term. Then we're going to move on. Okay? But here's the point. In Daniel, according to some sources, Daniel is one of those prophets who was forbidden to be read. Think about that. When you look at the canon of the Jewish Bible, what they say, or the Jewish canon, you have a section. First of all, you have the Torah. For those of you who don't know that, maybe another time I'll write that up there, but for time's sake, you have the Torah, which are the first 5 books of Moses, okay? And then you have what's called Nabayim, or Nabiim, which is the prophets, which consists of First Kings, Second Kings, First Samuel, Second Samuel, and then you had Isaiah and all of the other prophets. But what's interesting is that in the prophets, Daniel's book is not a part of the prophets. And let me just emphasize the fact that man decides what comprises a particular canon. You have the Christian canon, you have the Catholic canon, you have the Jewish canon. Men decided what's going to go with it. Okay? But what's interesting is in the Jewish canon, the book of Daniel is not a part of the section called the prophets. Daniel's writings are in the section that is called Ketuvim, or writings. Why? Because Daniel was a prophet who gave word as the Most High gave to him, and a lot of his word came true. So why is his work not incorporated in what is called Nevi'im or Navi'im? Why? See, Daniel wrote something that gave us a timetable as to when Mashiach, and we're not talking about any old Mashiach, but when Mashiach would appear. So you find that in chapter 9, 25, 26. Okay? Those are the last two verses. But in Daniel chapter 9, what we want to do, we'll start off in verse 1 just to get an idea of when this was given. Okay? So, in the first year of Darius, or Darius, the king of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. Okay, so this vision was given to him during that time. Okay, during the time of the Median and Persian Empire. Okay, now let's go down to verse 25. It says, "Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem." Now let me stop. For those of you who are not familiar, Daniel gave a prophecy of 4 kingdoms. The first of that kingdom was the Babylonian kingdom, or the Babylonian Empire. The Babylonian Empire, okay, their successors were the Median and Persian Empire. Now when the Babylonians had the control, had the power, we looked at this when we were discussing the truth about Hebrews, Israelites, and Jews. Israel, consisting of 12 tribes, was divided. 10 tribes was called the house of Israel. The 2 tribes were considered the house of Judah. The 2 tribes, which consisted of Judah and Benjamin, they were taken into captivity by the Babylonians, and they destroyed Solomon's temple. Okay? So the Medes and the Persians come to power, and now they are the heads of the Babylonian Empire as well as their own empire. Okay? So now, during that time period, the Medes and the Persians, it says, "Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto Mashiach." Then it says, "the prince." Mashiach, the prince, shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. In other words, what you have is a 69-week period. It says, "the street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times." In other words, all you have to do, read, study the books of Ezra and Nehemiah, and that gives a lot more detail as to what went on when the temple, the second temple, was being rebuilt. What they went through. Okay? Now, again, this is a reference to the second temple era. It is very, very important to understand that it is the second temple era. Okay? And again, that's the 9th place in verse 25 that the word Mashiach was used. So, the second temple